All right, thanks for joining in person on Zoom. This is great. For those, there's a couple names that look new to me. For those that don't know me, I am Rachel Wilbrecht, one of the coaches here at Keller Williams Legacy. This morning, I want to specifically talk about openings when we're calling, protecting that conversation. Those openings when we're calling people who we think might be interested in selling. Because obviously we don't want to pick up the phone, they say hello and say, hey, do you want to sell your house? Probably not as effective as we wish it was, right? So talking about how we can make that opening, how we can get into a conversation with them to make it a little bit more smooth. For those of you that made this call, what's something that you have said before or something that you think has been helpful?
I know one thing that has not been helpful. My name is Garis. So I actually make the call. I do have an assistant as well that does make my call, majority of my call. So here it goes like, hey, may I speak with XYZ? This is, either me or this is my assistant name from, and, it's in regard to the XYZ property and all that. But one thing is either click. Oh, no, I'm not interested. So I'm trying to find a better way to actually convert the people, where to find the right script, actually.
Okay. So just calling and asking if it's the owner, and it sounds like trying to ask if they're interested in maybe something that probably hasn't really worked. So we're going to try maybe some other things. Great. Anybody else make these calls and find that something's worked or not worked?
I'll say this is Cindy from Keller Williams Legacy. Thanks for taking my call. I haven't had anybody hang up on me yet.
Good.
I mean, I just go right in and introducing myself and thank them. That kind of takes down their defenses.
Yeah, that's an Alana move. Thank them for answering the call so they feel guilty about hanging up on you.
I got that from her. It's worked.
I've heard that move. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
go ahead. No.
I don't make these calls. I just do buyers. But
right.
I would think that you thanking them for their call would be a great part of your opener, and then maybe an open-ended question about the market might be helpful. Just like, are you aware of the current, are you aware that it's a current seller's market right now? Are you aware that houses are going for extremely high price,
Yeah,
record high prices? Like just giving some insight on the advantages of selling the house, just kind of like hook them, or snagging.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, tell me more. No, I'm not aware of that. Not a lot of people understand that. But I've never made this call. I'm interested to know what people do. That's blindly my angle.
I like that. Yeah, asking if they're aware of the market, if they heard that it's a bit of a seller's market right now, that home prices are up. Yeah, absolutely. I think that can be a way to get their attention.
Yeah.
Cool. I like that. So some other ones, excuse me, that we have coached to are, mentioning that you're calling because you're reaching out to people in the neighborhood because your brokerage has people that are interested in neighborhoods there like theirs. You don't want to ever call and say, hey, I have a buyer, I have someone interested in your neighborhood. If you don't, but you might not have a buyer, but someone else in the market center might, right? Or we know that there are at least other people in the market center working with buyers. So even if it's not in their neighborhood, saying that your market center has buyers looking for homes in neighborhoods like theirs, true, right? We're not lying. We're not telling them that, yes, we definitely have a buyer for your house. And asking them if, are they curious about what their home is worth? Or have they, been curious how much equity they've built? Offering a free market analysis can be another option. With sellers, it's often helpful to come from that place of like providing value. I mean, it's helpful with buyers too, let's be real. But letting them know why you're calling. And yes, they're probably gonna be able to guess that you're gonna ask them about selling their home, but also providing that value and giving that information. will also help to keep them on the phone a little longer. You can also say something along the lines of reaching out to a few homes in the area that may have built up some equity. Have you ever thought or been interested in seeing what your home is worth? You know, that could come back to Corey's point of asking if they know what the market's like right now. Did they know that, you know, home prices are up, that, you know, homes are getting multiple offers? Chances are if they're paying attention to the news, they've heard some of this, but if you're asking them this and they say yes, they might be interested in hearing more from you as someone who's in the field and seeing what's going on. Anybody else have anything they want to share as things that they've said when calling a potential seller?
Hey, it's Arlene. So, hi, good morning. So what I've tried doing, like when I'm calling them, I'll I'll say their name. If maybe it's the wrong person, I don't know. But if it's the right person and I say their name, it kind of gives them like, oh, this is somebody who knows me. And it's more of a more friendly conversation than it's like a stranger's calling me if I know their name. And then I introduce myself right after.
Absolutely, yeah. If you have a lead and you have a name and you can say, you know, hi Corey, thanks for taking my call. Hope you're having a great day. And then say, you know, we're reaching out to people in the neighborhood to see if they're interested. Yeah, if you have a name, that can definitely make it feel a little bit more personal. Like it's not just some spam call that they're, you know, robo dialing everyone they can and just going, we'll see what we get. I like that a lot. Anybody else have anything that's worked with calling potential sellers, openers, to get them to stay on the call in the conversation? All right, so to reiterate some of the things that we've talked about, saying their name can be an option, thanking them for taking the call so they feel guilty about hanging up on you. I like that one. Asking them if they know what the market is doing. Have they heard that it's a seller's market? Letting them know that you're calling because there are agents in your brokerage that have buyers looking in neighborhoods like theirs. Reaching out to a few homes in the area that might have built up some equity. Have you ever thought about seeing what your home is worth? These are all things that can kind of get them talking about their home and what it might be worth or what it might be like to sell. All right, so I know not everybody may be able to unmute, but the whole purpose of perfecting your conversation is to practice. We won't make it long, but for those that can unmute, let's practice openings. So who wants to go first? Who wants to be someone that's calling to see if someone's interested in selling their house? Who wants to be the agent? Just practice that opening line.
I will go because I'm
Great, all right,
having a
so you
lot
can
of
pretend
people. So the call goes in. Good morning, Corey. This is Garen from Keller Williams. Thanks for taking my call. How does that sound?
I think that's great. What would you do to get Corey talking about his home?
So yeah, the pack where is the brokerage has. So yeah, I'm calling in regard to your home. Have you heard about? I don't know. I'm still trying. Let me go back again. Let me go back again.
All right, start over, clean slate.
Yeah. Let me go back again and yeah, I'm gonna put this back in the wording and then come back with it again.
All right, so you want to take a minute?
Yes.
All right,
No,
so
I'm
somebody
just
else
using
want,
curry. I'm just using curry.
you can use
Well,
Corey.
let's
Excuse
hear
me.
somebody.
Oh, what's your name?
My name's Rachel. Corey's here in the room with me though.
I'm Corey.
Oh, hey,
Corey.
Curry. Okay.
Corey,
Can be the seller.
Okay, all right. Let me take a minute real quick.
all right, we'll come back to you in a minute. Anybody else
Oh.
want to practice their opener?
I'll try.
All right, we'll let Cindy go.
Yay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good morning, Rachel. Thank you for taking my call. Hope you're having a good day. I'm calling because I'm from Keller Williams Legacy, and I wanted to know if you were aware that they're doing home analysis in your area to see what your home might be worth.
Oh, no, that would be great.
Are you aware that of any homes that have sold in your area and what prices they're going for?
Yeah, there's been a couple in my neighborhood. I think they went like 320, 330. Might have been one that went for 340.
Okay. Would you be interested in me giving you an analysis to see what the value of your property is?
I would love that. That would be great.
Okay. Is there a time when I could come by and sit down with you and show you some comparable analysis in your area?
Yeah, how about tomorrow at like 5 o'clock?
Okay.
I love that, Cindy. She just kept going. I love it. You were ready. You were ready. I was just gonna have people kind of practice like that opening and getting people talking, but you kept going and I love that. It means you'll be
I have
ready
a
for when you're doing
question.
it. Yeah.
So she said, good job, Cynthia. This is Angie. She said, that, I work with Keller Williams or work at Keller Williams Legacy. And are you aware that we're doing a home analysis in your neighborhood? I think that's what you said, right?
Yes.
Now, is that something we can say, Rachel? I mean, I can do a home analysis of the neighborhood. It doesn't need to be the actual agency, right?
No, it doesn't. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to make sure I understand. I think she was just kind of saying that there are either she or people in the market center are doing like a home analysis or a market analysis of that neighborhood. Whether she words it as she's doing it, I mean, or the brokerage.
It
I
doesn't
mean, I think
matter.
that's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because potentially, the reason I'm saying that is because it's a good opening line. And I think it's something that I haven't tried, but if you're saying to them, you know, hey, and a home market analysis can be you just looking at the neighborhood of whoever you're calling and looking at 2 or 3 comps and seeing what are they sold for, right? So if they say, well, no, how much are things are going in my area? Then you can say, well, there was one on 123 Main Street that went on for 350, and there was one down the street from you that went for blah, blah, blah. So it does sound like you're actually doing an analysis, which, you know,
Sure.
in broad terms you have. So it's the truth. So it's a good line to because almost everybody wants to know how much their house is worth. So I like that opening.
The one thing I would say is be careful about how much you give away on the phone, because then you may not give the appointment. So if you
Right.
say to them, hey, this
Right.
house down the street went for this house went down the street for this. And granted, in my case, I acted like I knew what some of the homes had gone for. But if they didn't know, giving them that information may make them think, oh, I don't have to talk to you now because you've given me that info.
Right, but you can
yeah,
say,
absolutely.
you know, I would be able to do a much more precise analysis if we can possibly
When you're home.
meet. You know, I'm free on Wednesday at 4 or Thursday at 5. I can come over and look at it, and we can talk person to person, and then I'll be able to really put in all the numbers that I need to in our program, so I can give you a very educated analysis.
And seeing what the inside looks like, right, is gonna be the best way to compare, like seeing what upgrades they have made or haven't made.
Right.
It's really gonna
Right.
be essential to knowing if they're
Right.
at the higher end of that range or the lower end. Yeah.
Great.
Absolutely.
That's a good opening. Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think, you know, she phrased it as a question, are you aware that we are doing, you know, home analysis in your area? I think you could also phrase it as a statement too, like, we are doing home analysis in your area.
Right.
Have you ever been curious about what your home is worth?
Right, right.
right? It could go either way. Cool. Anybody else want to practice their opening line? Corey's walking back in. I'm gonna make him do it. You ready? You want to practice your opening line?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Absolutely. Okay,
Hello? You called me.
okay.
I was just picking up the phone.
Hi, Rachel.
Yeah.
Hi, Rachel. This is Corey with Keller Williams Legacy. The reason for my call today is we're doing free home analysis on properties in your neighborhood. Is that something you'd be interested in?
What would you do in a home analysis?
We would take a look at the current market and inventory and look at current trends of homes that have sold in your area and place a value on your home to.
Keep going. You're there. You're almost there.
It's so new to me because I only do
Because you
five.
typically work with buyers, and that's okay. You were in a very good place.
Okay. I'm just kind of like,
Right. Well, I just,
Guessing right
because
now.
not everybody may know what a home analysis is, right? And so but yeah, looking at other homes in the neighborhood to get an idea of what your home might be worth. Be careful about saying place of value because you want to make sure that they know that you're not placing the value, the market is placing the value.
Sure.
Because,
Okay.
you know, if it's not what they think it should be, you don't want them to think it's your fault that you think it's only worth this when they think it's worth this. The market's saying it's worth this. This is at your
Sure.
judgment.
Okay.
But yeah,
Um,
I liked that. You said
Yeah.
you were doing them in the neighborhood. Is that something I'd be interested in?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, fantastic. Yeah, and then I would give 2 times.
Right, give 2 times. So that way they have the option to choose rather than just saying when would be good and them trying to get you off the phone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
I have some time available on my schedule tomorrow. Are you free in the morning or the afternoon? Afternoon.
Right.
Okay, I have 3 and I have 6 o'clock.
Great. Love it. Good
Okay,
job.
Great. So,
Terrence, did you want to try again?
Yeah, I am ready.
Ready. All right.
yeah.
Give me a call.
Hey, Rachel, this is Garens with Keller Williams Legacy. Thanks for taking my call. How are you today?
I'm good, Garance. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for taking. So, the reason of my calling is that my brokerage has buyers interest in home in your neighborhood, and I was wondering if you would be interested in knowing your home worth.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Awesome, awesome. So, actually, when would be a great time for me to stop by with some comps for you?
And this is where we talk about times.
Yeah.
So, couple of things. You can certainly ask them what time would be good, but can also be helpful, as Corey was mentioning a moment ago, to give them a couple times and make them choose.
Okay.
Because if you leave it open-ended, sometimes it can be too much of a decision, like, I don't know, can I call you back and we'll pick a time later? Versus if you kind of give them 2 options and say which would be better, they can either pick one or say, well, neither of those works, and you can give them 2 new times, right?
Okay.
So that's something to think about. The other thing, be careful about asking how someone is. Now, this is the hardest thing. I do it all the time, and it sounds like something that you should do. Like you should ask them how they are. But if you do that, it can sometimes give them an opening to say, oh, I can't talk right now, I'm too busy. Like, you know, if I called
Okay.
you and said, you know, hi, Garance, I'm Rachel from Keller Williams Legacy. Thanks for taking my call. How are you today? You could easily say, oh, thanks so much, but you know what? Now's not a good time. I gotta go.
Okay.
And versus saying, you know, either not saying how are you, or if you still want to like extend that like pleasantry that we all do, right? In everyday
Right.
life, you could always say, thanks for taking my call. I hope you're doing well today. I'm calling because like, so you're still kind of saying, oh, I hope you're doing good, but you can kind of keep talking until you ask the question you really want to ask.
Okay.
And
Okay.
trust me, that is a hard habit to break. I certainly haven't. But I like to mention that.
Okay.
Anybody else want to practice their opener or have questions? I should say that too. Does anybody have questions?
Practice.
Okay. So I know that this is uncomfortable, right? Doing the practice, it feels awkward. I get that. And it can feel awkward when you're calling people. So my recommendation to you is to practice this. It doesn't have to be with another person, although it can be. But even if it's just, you know, you're driving the grocery store and you turn off the music for a couple minutes and you just think, okay, if I was going to call a seller, what would I say to them right now? What would my opening be? And practice saying it out loud to yourself. Just hear it coming out. The practice of moving your mouth in that way, like it sounds silly, but the more you practice it, the more like second nature it becomes, the easier it's going to roll off your tongue. You know, I used to say this, I used to work with college students, right? And I talked to them about their 30-second pitch or their elevators, you know, commercial, like whatever, like to get them like talking about themselves when meeting employers. This is the same thing. This is your 30-second commercial. This is your elevator pitch to someone over the phone, except you don't have 30 seconds, right? You have like 10 to 15 seconds to get them to want to stay on the phone with you and talk to you. So practicing it so it, not so it sounds rehearsed, because you never want to sound rehearsed, but so that it comes out naturally and feels comfortable will make it easier for you to make calls. You'll feel more confident making calls. It'll also lead to greater success when you're talking to people, because they're going to say, wow, this person really knows what they're talking about. This person, you know, sounds confident when they call. They're not stumbling over words. Like, it's just going to make it a little bit easier on you in the long run. So like I said, not saying you have to stand in front of the mirror and practice, or, you know, make your friends sit down and be like, hey, I'm going to practice. You can do all those things, but just even practicing yourself with yourself in the car, on your drive to work, you know, in the shower if you want, like wherever you have time, you know, run through a couple of practice scripts of like what your opening would be. And this works for all of them, not just working with sellers, of course. The other thing too is if you're calling and you get someone who has already sold their house or already has an agent, you know, don't feel like you have to like get off the phone immediately real quick, like congratulate them, to ask them like where they bought, or, you know, be excited for them, because those people could potentially be sellers again in the future, or buyers, or they might know people who want to buy or sell. So, you know, you could have a good conversation. They could have just sold their house and gotten into a new place, but congratulate them, you know what, that's so wonderful. I'm so excited for you. Guess you don't need me right now, but hey, like, do you know anybody that might need an agent right now? And maybe they do, and maybe they make a recommendation, or you say, hey, great. Hey, this is my number, keep it. If you know anybody, you know, I'd love to help them too. It's not always gonna work, but for the one time it does, you're gonna be really glad that you didn't just go, oh, okay, bye, right? And then just remember, the first time you call is probably not gonna be the person that answers and right away says, yeah, I wanna sell my house tomorrow. So follow-up is huge, it's important. You might get a voicemail and you can leave a voicemail. Don't wait for them to call you, call them back, right? There's studies that have been done that say it takes 5 calls in 10 days to get someone to return your phone call. So keep calling them.
So, Rachel, real quick, you just mentioned that if they say they do have agents, don't hang up. So actually, majority of them don't really say, yes, I have an agent already. For them, it's like, I'm trying to get as much as information as I can from all agents, you know. So where does that come in? So if they schedule, they're like, you know, we schedule the time to go in and see, is that when we mention that, or should we mention that prior on the phone call?
If they don't mention working with an agent,
Right.
I think it's okay to set that appointment. You can, you know, double check with them, say, you know, I guess it depends on what the appointment is. If they say, oh my God, I'm so glad you called, I've been thinking about selling. I would hope that means they don't have an agent, or their agent hasn't told them that, hey, you're with me now. But, you know, if they say, yeah, I'd be interested in what my home's worth, you know, I think probably depends on like how eager they seem.
Right.
Like I said, if they signed an agreement, hopefully their agent has said, like, you've been signed an agreement with me, I'm the one listing your home. Hopefully they're not inviting other agents in. But I think that's a question you could ask or double check when you're like after you've scheduled a time.
Okay.
Or, you know, if you want to go and meet, talk about what their home's worth and just kind of say, hey, are you talking to other agents? Or you can ask that question you're saying up, are you interviewing other agents? You know,
Okay.
but some of them may not be thinking, I'm selling my house now. They could be at the point where they're saying, oh, this person's just coming and giving me a market analysis. They're giving me an idea of what my home is worth.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. All
So
right.
you
Thanks.
can't guarantee it, but I would hope that if they are saying, yeah, I'd be curious, like if they're working with an agent, hopefully they already know what their home is worth because the agent should have talked about that, you know,
Right.
part of the listing, right?
Right.
But yeah, I think you
Yeah.
can ask that question just to make sure.
Okay.
I'd like to comment on that.
Yeah, go ahead, please
Just,
do.
I think it's really situational when you're on the phone, just kind of getting a feel, if they're kind of like, if it seems like a new idea of, you know, something new, maybe I wouldn't ask you if they were working with an agent, because that also puts the idea of, okay, oh, I could be working with someone else. You don't really want to put that idea in their head, but if it's someone that has, maybe shown like, oh, yes, I've been thinking about it. Oh, that's great. Have you talked to a real estate agent? You know, I had a situation where someone called, it was a sign call from one of our properties, and I didn't vet for the agent, and I went out to Ellicott City and showed them the property, and I was planning on vetting then, and they did. They said, oh, yeah, we can work with an agent. Well, where's your agent today? Oh, yeah, but. it
Why
was kinda
didn't your
like-
agent schedule this showing?
Yeah, and I don't believe it. I think it was a nosy neighbor.
Yeah.
And they didn't sign anything with that agent, so are they working with an agent? You know, so, but still, they were able to give me that excuse, and I felt, you know, especially with gas prices, your time is worth money, so I mean, you're gonna go out, schedule an appointment.
Yeah, I think if you're scheduling a showing with
Yeah.
with how buyers are, I would make sure that
That was
they
a
don't
rookie
have
mistake for
an
me, though.
agent. I think it's probably less likely with listings, not impossible, but I think
Yeah.
less likely because I think most people, like if you lock down a listing, you're gonna make sure that they know they're working with you and they shouldn't be working with other agents because they've signed that exclusive right, you know, to list, so.
True.
Well,
All right,
thanks for you that
thank you.
stayed to the end. Hope this has been really helpful. Hope you join us next Tuesday and Thursday for Perfecting Your Conversation. Like I said, practicing it, it's just what's gonna make it easier and feel more natural to you. Have a great day, everybody.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.